Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, I think Donald Trump has got some people running a little scared. Got some people a little afraid of what a Donald Trump presidency could look like. Because there's been a lot of talks about, there's going to be investigations, possibly some arrests, possibly some people in prison. To be honest with you, I don't really see it. I really don't. I think that there's a lot of people around Donald Trump that are talking a big game about that. But, I mean, the reality is that we didn't even get that in his first term. You know what I mean? He had every right and every bit of evidence that he needed to bring charges against Hillary Clinton for, destroying public records, which is a crime that will land you in prison. But he didn't do it, even though he literally said he was going to do it on the debate stage. The famous "you'd be in jail," little gotcha that he had during the debates. But he didn't really do it. You know what I mean? But I want to get into the news and let's see what's going on with Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, I think he could be a little afraid, just a little bit. Let's get into it. From the Washington Examiner, Mark Zuckerberg admits censorship and vows to curb election donations. Mark Zuckerberg is currently under investigation by Congress, and he had these things to say, I believe, because of the fear of what could possibly happen not only to himself, but also what could happen to Facebook, which is the source of his riches. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg made weighty promises to Congress on Monday ahead of the 2024 election, saying he planned to fight any pressure from the White House to censor content on his social media platform, and that he would not donate his controversial Zuckerbucks in this year's election. Zuckerberg said in his most explicit criticisms yet of the Biden White House that senior officials repeatedly pressured the tech billionaire's company to suppress content related to COVID-19 on its Facebook platform in 2021. Senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our team for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree, Zuckerberg wrote in a letter to the House Judiciary Committee. He said he believed the pressure from the White House, which came to light through a sweeping lawsuit brought by two Republican attorney generals in 2022, was wrong. That he regretted not being more vocal about it, that he made misinformed content moderation choices, and that his company would push back on any future pressure. He plans on pushing back. I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if someone like this happens again, Zuckerberg wrote. The Facebook founder also addressed his and his wife's Zuckerbucks spending in the 2020 presidential election, which involved the Zuckerberg-Chan initiative funneling more than $400 million into local election offices. Yes, the good old Zuckerbucks. Here's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. He just admitted to interfering in the 2020 election. He just admitted to it in Congress. In the middle of a congressional investigation, he just admitted to interfering in the 2020 election. Now, I have heard from some leftists that this is a crime. He interfered. Guys, like I said before, I don't seriously think that Donald Trump is going to put people in jail. I think that there could be some investigations into some things that happened so that some truth might come to light. Do I think that there's going to be a lot of people put in prison? I'm just not seeing it. I'm really not. We didn't get it in his first term. Why would we expect to get it now? Now, regardless, I still think that a Trump presidency would be a net positive, especially for things like the economy. But when it comes to rooting out the corruption and then putting corrupt people in prison for things that they do, Let's be honest. He didn't exactly do that. Now, I want to go directly over to Mark Zuckerberg's actual letter that he wrote. But let's talk about this first. From the House Judiciary GOP. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted 3 things. Number 1, Biden and Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans. That is also election interference. Facebook censored Americans. This is where that election interference that I was just talking about, this is where that is. Facebook throttled the Hunter Biden laptop story. And if you think that wasn't at the behest of the of the Biden and Harris administration, who is currently trying to win the presidency, if you think that wasn't at the behest of them and the behest of the FBI, I got a bridge to sell you. But let's get directly into this letter from Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. The Honorable Jim Jordan, Chairman Committee on the Judiciary, United States House of Representatives, 2138 Rayburn House, Office Building, Washington, D.C., yada, yada, yada. Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest. Can I get a better view for you guys? No, it doesn't really work. Okay. I apologize. The letters are small. I'm going to try to read to the best of my ability. I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from this process. There's a lot to talk right now around how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting free speech, not free speech. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams. There, he's admitting to it. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that these letters are so small. With the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the U.S. while waiting for fact checkers. There you go. He outright admits, ladies and gentlemen, to interfering in the federal election. And of course, he also implicates the FBI as well. It has been very clear to anybody with a brain and to anyone who has the ability to follow these findings about the Hunter Biden laptop story that it was not Russian disinformation, that it was actually Hunter Biden's laptop. He did have some very terrible things on that laptop that no one should have on their laptop. It's absolutely disgusting. Certain, I'm just going to leave it there because I like to have a family-friendly show. But the stuff on his laptop is quite disgusting. And of course, this letter from Mark Zuckerberg implicates the FBI by saying they pressured us into covering this up. They told us it was Russian disinformation. That was a lie, clearly. And it got covered up. Not only does this implicate Facebook in election interference, but it also implicates the FBI. Now, like I said before, I don't necessarily expect anything to happen to these people. But there's certain things that could be done to your company. Let's continue with his letter. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. Yes. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan. These contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg, they were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analyses I've been showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. My goal is to be neutral and not play a role one way or another, or to even appear to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Guys, ultimately, I think what this is a guy that is scared. I do. I think that he is scared. And I don't really understand why. Really. I mean, the reality is that maybe he could be scared of what could happen under this investigation if after the election, Republicans are able to hold on to the House and Donald Trump is able to win the presidency and Republicans take back the Senate. Maybe the House will refer him to have some kind of criminal charges to the DOJ, and then maybe the DOJ decides, you know what, yeah, we're going to go ahead and go on with these charges, and maybe Donald Trump just doesn't even have anything to do with it. I don't know. But we just didn't get this under Donald Trump. We didn't get these people, these corrupt officials, specifically Hillary Clinton. We didn't get this idea where they were held accountable. We never got that. There was no accountability for these people under Donald Trump. They were still allowed to just run amok. And now here you have Mark Zuckerberg admitting to election interference and implicating the FBI in that election interference. And possibly Joe Biden as well, let's be honest. Because as somebody who was in the White House for 8 years, you seriously think that Joe Biden doesn't have connections to the FBI? You're seriously going to sit there and tell me that as someone who was the vice president for 8 years, that they have no networking with people within the FBI? Sure. That's the delusion that you want to live in. Go right ahead. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. Ultimately, I hope that there is some accountability if a Donald Trump wins. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think that now what I hope about Mark Zuckerberg here is that what we have seen from him lately, joining Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and starting to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the lifting weights, getting a little bulkier, growing a beard, growing out his hair, calling Trump a bad A whenever he was in an interview because of the raised fist picture after Trump had just gotten shot. All of these things lately shows the picture of someone who could possibly maybe be changing their political opinions. And he's got such a long history of being on the left side of things that him trying to change things now just kind of seems awkward. I hope that that's what that is, but let's be honest. There's serious implications here, as I've just explained. He just outright admitted to interfering in the 2020 election, to hiding the Hunter Biden laptop story, which there were polls after the fact that showed that around 17% of Biden voters stated that they would not have voted for him if they had known about the Hunter Biden laptop story. That is outright election interference. I don't know what else you would call that. I mean, you've got people right now that are saying that, Donald Trump, whenever he interfered in the 2016 election, when he was sending money to this hooker, this porn star, Stormy Daniels, which they never actually proved that he knew about those payments. So, that's neither here nor there. But he outright just admitted it, guys. Outright just admitted it right in front of Congress. Yes, we interfered in the 2020 election, and I was in charge of all of it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm hoping that this guy's is just having a legitimate change. He's married. He's got kids now. These are, let's be honest, leftists don't really have kids. It's just an outright fact that conservatives have more kids than leftists do. But I don't know. I truly don't know. A part of me thinks that he could be scared of what a Donald Trump investigation or a Donald Trump presidency could result in for himself and for Facebook, because he knows he just did. He knows he broke the law. He knows he interfered in the 2020 election. He just outright admitted it. So I don't know. Maybe he could be scared. Maybe he's not. I think that maybe he could be, though. I really do. I don't know, man. I don't know where I want to bring up the current polls, if I could ever get this website to work. Goodness gracious. All right, guys, check this out. From the top battlegrounds, Trump versus Harris. Now, I'm going to go out and say this. I don't think the general election polls matter. I don't. Because ultimately, that's popular vote stuff. You know what I'm saying? We've had so many presidencies where the one that won the election and ended up in the White House did not win the popular vote. So ultimately, what I feel like is more important is these battleground states. So right now, we got Trump up 0.1 points. That is a smaller margin than the hairs on Joe Rogan's head. Like, there's, it's just the slimmest of margins, man. Like this. Oh my goodness. I don't know, man. Like, what do you look at here? You look at this here. Tell me what I'm supposed to get from this. Okay. Now, goodness. See what I mean? Something went wrong. I don't know what that is. Now, I do want to go ahead and I want to show you this right here. We've got Arizona Trump is up 0.2. Okay. We just had a recent poll come out this morning, and I want to show you from Noble Predictive. To be fair, I don't know much about these guys. I got to be honest. I don't know much about Noble Predictive. But from the general election poll, Trump is up +3. +3 points. I don't know. I don't know what to take from that. I really don't. When you have margins that are this close, I have no idea. I'm just trying to give you guys the information that I'm seeing right now about these specific battleground states. Goodness, this website sucks, man. Real clear polling. Guys, get it together. Maybe it's my computer. I don't know. But that's it's just insane. But right now, Arizona, Trump is up 0.2. Nevada, Trump is up 1.4. Wisconsin, Harris is up 1 point. Michigan, Harris is up 2 points. Pennsylvania, Trump is up 0.2. North Carolina, Trump is up 0.9. And in Georgia, Trump is up 1 point. Now, over the last election, all of these polls were showing that, Biden is up by 8 in this state. Biden is up by, I believe it was Wisconsin or Michigan. Biden was apparently up by 8, and then on election day, he only ended up winning by 4. Okay? If the polls are continuing along that same level of disparity, then all of these states are in play for Donald Trump. Every single one of them. And if that truly is the disparity, which, carry that over from 2020, from the 2020 election onto this election, if that carries over, then Trump is actually winning all of these states by a significant margin. If what we got from last year's polls holds true on these battleground states, then Trump is actually winning Michigan by 2 points. And he's actually winning Wisconsin by 3 points. So, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that's actually true or not. What I'm saying is that what we saw from the polls in 2020, if we carried over that same disparity, there was a 4-point disparity between the polls and what actually happened on election day. So if we carry that over to this election, I'm not saying that this was actually going to happen. I'm saying that if we carry it over, Trump is actually winning every single one of these states, and he's winning them by a significant margin. Now, as to what's going to happen on election day, I have no idea. You got to get your butt off your couch and go freaking vote, ladies and gentlemen. If you want Harris to win, go freaking vote. If you want Trump to win, get off your butt and go vote. Now, we all know who I'm voting for. I've said it many times. I'm voting for Donald Trump because I'm sick of grocery prices. I'm sick of gas prices. I'm sick of inflation. I'm sick of the terrible economy. I have children that I want to raise. I'm trying to raise a family here. And I'm sick of being screwed over by Bidenomics and the Harris economy. Because let's be honest, she voted for every single one of these failed policies in the Senate. Yeah, people forget that that's a major responsibility of the vice president is to go to the Senate and to be a tie-breaking vote in the Senate. She has been voting on all of these failed policies that Biden has put through. Without Kamala Harris voting on these policies in the Senate, these policies would have never even gotten to Joe Biden's desk. She is actually worse than Joe Biden. I mean, all Joe Biden's doing is just signing a document that comes across his desk, which, to be fair, is ludicrous. And I believe that these government officials should be required to actually read these bills and these things to actually make sure that they agree with them first. But let's be honest, that's never going to happen. But yeah, she's actually voting on these things. She's putting her name behind these bills. and saying, I agree with this. She's outright voting on them. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know who I agree with. We all know who I agree with. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know. The race is so close. It's just, when the margins are this close, you cannot guess. You can't make guesses. There's no skill in guessing one way or the other. People just got to get out and vote, man. You have got to start respecting these polls. You got to, man. Because like I said, I don't necessarily think that the general election polls are all that serious, but these battleground states are close, man. Just like Donald Trump could win all of these states, all of these states are within the margin of error. But they're also within the margin of error for Harris. Harris could take every single one of these battleground states. You have no idea. So you've got to get off your butt and go vote. And whenever you vote, you got to vote down ballot Republican. Because if Donald Trump could take back the presidency all day, every day. But if Democrats take back the House and keep control of the Senate, they will impeach him like that. And they will remove him from office before he ever even sees the White House. Guys, if you want a Donald Trump presidency and you want there to be any kind of actual ability for him to do anything and for him to put forward his policies, then you got to vote down ballot Republican and you got to vote Donald Trump. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that we just got to keep encouraging people to get out and vote, man. I think that's really all we can do. You know, you got to register your friends and family to vote. You got to go door to door. You got to, where it is legal, in the states where it is legal, you need to go ballot harvest. You need to go collect people's ballots where it is legal. States like, I believe Arizona, it's legal. In Wisconsin, I think it's legal. Pennsylvania, I believe. I could be wrong about Pennsylvania. Don't take credit, don't credit me with that. Go look that up yourself, but because I'm not entirely sure about Pennsylvania. But I don't know, man. Ultimately, we cannot predict what's going to happen. We got to wait till Election Day. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I will have another video coming for you guys likely on Thursday or Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, and share this show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.